This is Thumper. Thumper started out life as a 2004 Nissan Xterra. And then slowly I beat it into this condition and it became a camera truck for Sister Mary's Funhouse. We got a little bit of an online following and we decided we wanted to make our own movie. We wanted to make it in our own way, in our own time, with our own money. And we decided that we would bring the audience with us. Why not? You know, they interacted with us through everything else, and we wanted them to help us turn Thumper into a movie truck. What would it take to turn a 2004 Nissan Xterra into some kind of a doomsday machine? So we put it up to a vote. We decided that we would do something that was like camouflage, but futuristic looking camouflage, because the movie's going to be kind of in the future. And everybody voted on B. They liked the blue colors. And we liked them too, so we were like, okay, this is cool. It's kind of experimental, and we did what they said. Then everybody said it needs tires. They didn't like the tires, so we had to get new tires. And that's really pricey. That was a very big move for us, you know, to put that kind of money together. Then we wanted to tear the front end apart, but we wanted it still to be safe. So we had to leave the original bumper together the way it was, and then we created these skins that went over the top. And then we wanted to, you know, create something different, so we let everybody vote on that. They voted on C, and we like C too, so guess what? It was C. Then we decided, instead of scrapping the camera mounts on the roof, to turn them into machine gun mounts so that it would hold a machine gun and do like a backup camera on the back. We got some simple materials. This stuff really doesn't cost that much, but it's amount of time and labor that you have to do, and we can only work at night and in our spare time on weekends, you know, whenever we do this, so it seems to take forever because it takes forever. So anyway, we cut this thing up. It started to really look like a doghouse. We weren't sure what we were doing, but at least we had a foundation and an idea. We got some two-part foam that you mix together. It's a one-to-one mix, and it turns into a different type of foam. This foam is a lot stronger, and it's easier to work with. The original foam that we used for this thing, you could poke your finger clean through it. It's just good to create a dummy, a skeleton, so that you could cover it. We got a hold of some really heavy grade fiberglass. It's called biaxle, and we wrapped this thing all up. The biaxle is basically what you would use on a transom on a boat, and we did 2 or 3 layers of that. And then we encapsulated it in auto body filler, which is a polyester. Little trick, whenever you're using polyester, use mineral spirits to clean your spreaders and stuff. It works great. So we added different types of foam and put it all together on there so that in an impact, it still had a lot of structure. These are the fangs going on. One of the other things that I can give you as a clue or a hint, whenever you're doing something like this, is to separate them in such a way that your tool can go in between them for sanding, so you don't have to do a lot of hand sanding. We're able to put a spreader in between it and be able to put a sander in between it. I had to do a lot of welding. I welded onto the bumper. I made some nuts and bolts that were attached to big washers that went through the original license plate holder, and then I put some threaded dowel rods, basically all thread, onto the hooks so that I could run it through. I padded everything up. We used good grade bolts for impact, but you can see how long those are. Those go through the nuts and bolts, and when you tighten the hooks, it would actually draw the bumper up, you know, tighten it. So once the bumper is completed, it's time to fair everything in and make it look, you know, like it's supposed to look, which is a tremendous amount of work. And there I am, a 55-year-old woman doing all this stuff. It's pretty crazy. Actually, I was probably about 54 or 53 when I started this. I put everything together with foam and then fair it all in with a little bit of polyester putty, which is basically Bondo, and then encapsulate it again with a little more fiberglass, and then fair it in again in multiple layers so that I could sculpt it. There it is again, where you can see I made everything the size of a spreader and the size of a sander, so it was easier to work with. But now we've got a problem. We made this beautiful thing on the front of the truck that looks like a huge masher, and you can't get air to the radiator. So we wanted to come up with these little fairings on the sides that actually ducted the air in. These are just made out of like a foam core, which is cardboard with foam inside it. You can get them just about anywhere. Any like hobby store would have it. Arts and craft supply stores will have it as well. So anyway, then I encapsulated those in fiberglass and I bondoed those all up, and that was a lot of fun. When you get done painting everything and the paint is still kind of moist, you can put baby powder all over it and it looks 100 years old right from the get-go. This is the pile of junk I used to make the gun. Making the machine gun, yes, I used golf clubs, was really interesting. These are components that go to some kind of a plastic fence or something like that. We cut them up into increments, fed wire through it, and created that kind of a belt look to it. This was just foam and a spool of wire that was in the road that we had to go around it or run it over. So we were like, oh, we'll take that. That's how we find most of the stuff for this movie is just crap, you know. We encapsulated that in fiberglass, and we painted it with house paint because if you paint it with house paint, the foam first, you can encapsulate that with fiberglass and it won't eat the foam. We used a dollar store baking pan to run that through, which also rotted out nicely. PVC from the dumpster, some pieces from a hardware store that were like for lighting and stuff like that, and bathroom fittings. I wanted to make the gun barrel look unique, so I cut different pieces of dowel rod, fed them in there, heated up with a heat gun, put it on that dustpan so it wouldn't burn the table, you know, the fabric on the table, and just crushed them into place. And then I poured a bunch of fiberglass and resin in there. There's one of the golf clubs I put in there. I ran the golf clubs through them and then poured foam all through it, like a different type of a foam, so it locked everything together. And there's the first look at it on there, which was so exciting. And yay, there it is. So building Thumper has really been quite an experience. And then we wanted to do the inside. We wanted to insulate it, so we shot expanding foam in every nook and cranny up in there. We got some carpeting super, super cheap, and we got this roll of foam super, super cheap. We had some other stuff laying around. We bought those LED lights. I made a template of the side panels inside there and sprayed them with paint so that I could cut them out and they would, you know, be what you wanted them to be. Cut some holes out. We found some speakers out by the dumpster, and the woofers were destroyed and the cabinets were shot, but they had perfectly good tweeters and mid-ranges. I know they're 8 ohm instead of 4 ohm, but oh well, they were free. And then we got some really cheap speakers, and then Jinx was helping us. We added the lumber into the back of the car. We sprayed expanding foam in it, shot it with screws, and fitted it the best we could. And we carpeted all that, ran all the wires for all the lighting, put those on independent switches and to the doors, and ta-da! And there is our head that we used for a backup camera. There's the backup camera. We wanted to put some kind of creepy head up there so it was, you know, kind of Walking Dead-ish, you know, I don't know. Yet there's still discussion of putting grill work over the windows, but we're in Florida and I'm really afraid of going off the road, flipping over and going into a canal, and you can't break the window and get out. So we would have to make those so they came apart. By the way, that foam, that black foam, is amazing. It's pool and patio foam. And the best way to clean the tube that I was showing there is take acetone, MEK, or lacquer thinner and put it in a squeeze bottle, which you can get from Sally's Hair Salon, and you just squeeze it through the tubes, and you don't have to throw the bottle away. You can continue to use the foam container until it's empty. You don't have to use it one time. It's not a one-time use. Another tip to the reds, whenever you're doing fake blood, make them in different densities. Make your reds in different colors. Don't use one red. Use red, add black, add blue, whatever you need to do to it. Add some black spray paint and dab it again so you get different densities, and that's what makes the blood look so real. Another thing, the back window got broken out in the hurricane, so we wanted to put a new glass in there so we could letter it up nice. I used butyl, and I used a little bit of fine line, went around it where the original window blacking would have been to hide all the guts and components inside there. Little Scotch-Brite, little sandpaper, just roughed it up and sprayed it with some rattle can black, my favorite black. And whenever you're pulling tape, always pull it flat. Never pull the tape up because you can pull the paint right off. So anyway, that is Thumper, and that's why we built Thumper. That's how we built Thumper, and yeah. Okay, so if you see us on the streets of Fort Lauderdale, honk the horn and say hi.